Most people know about the law of attraction. They've heard about it, read about it, tried it, but the law of attraction is just one law. There are universal laws that govern everything: your relationships, your health, your money, your mind, and most people are completely unaware of them. Not because the information isn't out there, but because nobody slowed down long enough to explain what each law actually means for your daily life. That's what this video is. In the next 8 minutes, I'm going to walk you through 8 laws of the universe that most people ignore. Not the theory, the practical truth behind each one, and what happens when you're living against them without knowing it. Number 1 is the law that underlies every other. Understand it. And everything changes. Let's get into it. Law 8, the law of divine oneness. This is the foundation of all spiritual awakening, and almost nobody talks about it in practical terms. What it actually is, the law of divine oneness states that everything in the universe is connected. Not metaphorically, literally. Every thought you think sends a ripple outward. Every feeling you carry influences the energetic field around you. You are not separate from the universe. You are an expression of it. Why most people ignore it? Because modern life trains you to see yourself as separate, separate from other people, separate from nature, separate from source. And when you believe you're separate, you operate from fear, competition, and scarcity. You fight for resources that the universe has in infinite supply. What changes when you live by it? You stop asking, what can I get? And start asking, what can I contribute? That shift alone changes your vibrational frequency. Because you're no longer operating from lack. You're operating from wholeness. How it feels when it's working. You start to feel less alone. Not because your circumstances changed, because your perception did. You begin to sense that the universe is not indifferent to you. It's moving with you. Law 7, the law of correspondence. As above, so below. As within, so without. This is one of the oldest principles in recorded spiritual history, and it contains something most people never fully grasp. What it actually is, the law of correspondence states that your outer reality is a direct reflection of your inner world. Not sometimes, always. The patterns in your relationships mirror the patterns in your mind. The chaos in your environment mirrors the chaos in your thoughts. The abundance or scarcity in your bank account mirrors your subconscious beliefs about worthiness. Your outer world is being projected by you. Why most people ignore it? Because it's far more comfortable to blame circumstances. To say the economy is bad, people are difficult, luck is not on their side. Taking full responsibility for your reality is one of the hardest things a person can do. But it's also the most empowering. Because if your outer world reflects your inner world, then changing your inner world changes everything. What changes when you live by it? You stop trying to fix the outside first. You start working on the inside. Your belief system, your self-concept, those are the blueprint. The outer world is just the building. How it feels when it's working. You'll notice that as you shift internally, things externally begin to rearrange, not always immediately, but unmistakably. That's correspondence in action. Law 6, the law of polarity. Everything has an opposite, and that opposite is not your enemy. What it actually is, the law of polarity states that everything in existence has 2 poles, 2 extremes that are the same thing in different degrees. Hot and cold are the same thing, temperature. Love and fear are the same thing, intensity of feeling. Abundance and scarcity are the same thing, a point on a spectrum. This is not philosophy. This is structure. Why most people ignore it? Because when something negative shows up in their life, they treat it as evidence that things are going wrong. They resist it, they fight it, they collapse into it. But the law of polarity tells you something different. The presence of a negative pole means the positive pole exists on the same spectrum, accessible from the same place you're standing. What changes when you live by it? You stop running from darkness. You start using it as information. Feeling broke tells you abundance exists and is possible. Feeling lonely tells you deep connection is something you're capable of. Feeling stuck tells you movement is available. The negative pole is a compass pointing toward the other side. How it feels when it's working. Hard moments stop feeling final. They start feeling temporary. And that shift, from permanent to temporary, is one of the most powerful mindset shifts you can make. Law 5, the law of rhythm. Everything moves in cycles, everything has seasons, and most people fight the seasons instead of flowing with them. What it actually is, the law of rhythm states that everything in the universe operates in cycles: tides, seasons, economies, emotions, creative energy, relationships. There are times to expand and times to contract, times to push and times to rest, times when manifestation accelerates and times when it goes quiet. This is not failure. This is rhythm. Why most people ignore it? Because they've been conditioned to demand consistency, to treat rest as laziness, silence as stagnation, stillness as falling behind. So when a natural low cycle arrives, when motivation dips, results slow down, they panic. They double down on effort. They abandon the practice right before the tide turns. What changes when you live by it? You develop what I'd call rhythmic trust. You know that low cycles are temporary. You know that winter always becomes spring. So instead of forcing during the low, you restore. You do the inner work, you prepare for the next expansion. How it feels when it's working. You stop feeling like something is wrong with you every time your energy dips. You start reading your own cycles the way a sailor reads the sea, working with them, not against them. Law. 4. The law of cause and effect. Every cause has an effect. Every effect has a cause. Nothing happens by accident. What it actually is, the law of cause and effect, so sometimes called the law of karma, states that every action, every thought, every intention sets a chain of events into motion. Nothing in your life arrived without a cause, and nothing you do now will go without an effect. This is one of the most sobering laws on this list, and one of the most empowering. Why most people ignore it? Because accepting it fully means accepting that you are the primary cause of most of what happens in your life. But here's what that belief costs you: your power. The moment you become the cause, you get to change the effect. What changes when you live by it? You become intentional, not obsessive, intentional. You think before you react. You consider the energetic ripple of your words. You choose your thoughts with more awareness because you understand they are seeds, and seeds become harvests. Every time, how it feels when it's working. Life starts to feel less random. You begin to see the connection between what you've been putting out and what keeps showing up. And with that awareness comes choice. Real, deliberate, conscious choice. Law 3. The law of gender. This might be the most misunderstood law on this list because it has nothing to do with what most people think it does. What it actually is, the law of gender states that everything in existence has masculine and feminine principles, not male and female, principles. The masculine principle is directing energy, taking action, setting intention. The feminine principle is receiving, allowing, trusting the process. Both exist within every person. Both are necessary for creation. Why most people ignore it? Because most people are chronically imbalanced toward one side. Those who overuse the masculine principle never allow. They plant seeds and dig them up daily to check. Those who overuse the feminine principle set intentions but never act on inspiration. They dream without doing. What changes when you live by it? You learn to move between both states fluidly. Set a clear intention. Take inspired action, masculine. Then let go, trust, receive, feminine. This is the full cycle of conscious creation. Most people only use half of it. How it feels when it's working. There's a quality of ease that enters your manifestation process. Less grinding, less forcing, more flow, more synchronicity. Signs from the universe start appearing because you created the space to notice them. Law 2. The law of perpetual transmutation of energy. This is the law most people have never heard of, and it might be the most practical one on this list. What it actually is, the law of perpetual transmutation of energy states that energy is always in motion, always changing form, always moving from one state to another. And here's the part that changes everything. Higher vibrational energy always transmutes lower vibrational energy. Not sometimes, always. Light doesn't negotiate with darkness. It simply appears and darkness ceases to exist in that space. Why most people ignore it? Because when they feel low, anxious, depressed, stuck, They believe they are trapped there. They think the low energy is fixed, permanent, who they are. But energy is never fixed. It is perpetually in motion. And you have the ability to introduce a higher frequency that begins to transmute the lower one. What changes when you live by it? You stop waiting to feel better before you do something good. You understand that doing something good is what makes you feel better. A moment of genuine gratitude transmutes anxiety. A single act of generosity transmutes scarcity. You don't wait for the energy to change. You become the cause of it. How it feels when it's working. You develop a kind of inner authority over your emotional state. Not suppression, authority. You feel a low moment arriving, and instead of collapsing into it, you introduce something higher. And you watch the energy shift. That's one of the most powerful things a human being can learn to do. Law 1. The law of vibration. This is the foundation. The law that makes all the others possible. And the one most people think they understand but don't. What it actually is. The law of vibration states that everything in the universe is in a constant state of vibration. Everything. Your thoughts, your emotions, your body, this screen, this voice. Matter is simply energy vibrating at a frequency slow enough to appear solid. The law of attraction is actually a secondary effect of the law of vibration. You don't attract what you want, you attract what you are vibrating. Why most people ignore it? Because they focus on their thoughts and words while ignoring their emotional frequency. They say affirmations while feeling hopeless, they visualize abundance while feeling unworthy, and wonder why nothing is changing. The universe doesn't hear your words. It reads your frequency. What changes when you live by it? Everything becomes about frequency management. You stop asking what to say or do. You start asking, what frequency am I broadcasting right now? Then you shift it. Through gratitude, through presence, through trust. How it feels when it's working. Your desired reality starts appearing not because you chased it, but because you became a vibrational match for it. Things arrive that you didn't even ask for, because your frequency is attracting everything aligned with it. That's not magic. That's the most fundamental law of the universe working exactly as it should. Here's what I want you to understand. These aren't 8 separate laws. They're 8 perspectives on the same truth. The universe operates by precise principles, and those principles don't care whether you know them or not. They're always working. The question is whether they're working for you or against you. Now you know them. Now you get to choose. Start with one. The one that hit you the hardest, the one that made something click. Sit with it this week. See how it shows up in your daily life. See what shifts. Let me know in the comments which law you never heard of before today, and which one you feel you've been living against without knowing it. See you in the next one.